Well, hello there and welcome to another edition of Sport on the first show of 2025. I do trust that you've been keeping well. It's good to be back. As always, I'm joined by my co-pilot, James Okabi. James, it's been a while, but it's good to see you once again.
Yes, thanks, Bernard. Happy New Year to Sport On, because it's the first Sport On TV. And yes, I'm glad to be back. I'm happy to be back. It's been quite the year. It's been quite the start to the year. But you know what? In all things, we give thanks.
Indeed. Now, the first bit, of course, we have to reflect on Okabi's. We've lost an icon. Some of the adjectives that have been used to describe this man: colossus, giant, somebody who's been very integral in terms of the growth of Kenyan football.
Yes, Bernard. The passing on of Bob Munro on Sunday is such a huge moment for Kenyan football. When the history of Kenyan football is written, Bob Munro will deserve a whole chapter, if not chapters by himself, because the impact he's had in Kenyan football, both from youth football to the Kenyan Premier League, to the national team, Harambee Stars, to the governing of the game, to the people of Mathare as a community. Forget the football, but just to the community as a whole. I don't think we understand or appreciate enough the kind of impact one man has had. One man who just came to Kenya, got to Mathare and thought, let me do something about it. So yes, huge, huge loss for Kenyan football.
Here's his story. For most of the last 3 decades, the late Bob Munro was a pivotal figure in Kenyan football. The Canadian-born diplomat who passed away on Sunday night after battling illness over the last 2 years first interacted with Kenya in the mid-70s when he was a high-flying diplomat at the United Nations. A chance meeting with the late Undugu Society founder, Father Grohl, led him to start Mathare Youth Sports Association in August 1987. The organization quickly found its footing and quickly won his heart, with the environmental expert making a decision to quit his consultancy work and instead focus on MISA.
You see the conditions and you see the incredible resilience, the incredible determination of the youth and the mothers and that there. You have to stand back and stand in awe of that. They never give up.
His efforts and selflessness over almost 4 decades have left an indelible mark in Kenyan football as he relentlessly looked out for his constituency.
When you get to my age, 81, when you get to 70, you start thinking, you know, what have I done? Did I make a difference? And so at the end of the day, yes, I have a very poor bank account, but that's not what I'm counting. I sit back and I take a look and say, not bad. I did make a difference. I did make a difference on environment, on sustainable development, on the lives of at least 150,000 MISA. And to the extent that I've had any influence on improving Kenyan football, then you're talking about the lives of how many football players do we have in Kenya.
And while he changed both the football and Mathare Valley landscape, he acknowledged how much Mathare had changed him.
I've been privileged to be part of that journey and a close part in witnessing that firsthand for nearly 40 years. And it's changed me, and it's made life for me something much more than it ever could have been if I hadn't met them, their youth.
MISA has gone through tough times in recent years, with donor funding dwindling heavily after being affected by COVID and negative publicity. But ever the optimist, Munro had a clear vision of the future of the organization.
We have to make sure that in the next few years we think things through so that MISA will be celebrating its 100th birthday in 2087. Now, I think we found the answer, and the answer there is mobilizing our 150,000 alumni, and their membership fees will help sustain MISA without donor funding or any other kind of funding.
But despite his wonderful work in Kenyan football, Munro was most proud of his family.
I hope that will be my first legacy, is as a son, as a husband, as a father, as a grandfather. We now have 7 grandchildren. We had daughters and 3 sons. And the 3 sons were Kenyan. Our 6 of our 7 grandchildren are Kenyan. So that has to be first.
Okabi, it's still surreal.